Every time people say I'm going to go into public life, people start playing a song with two stanzas, River Yala, Warakaland, and so on, and you see it repeated over and over again. I've never had an opportunity myself to publicly look the cameras in the face and say this is what it is and so on. When in 2021, the issue of a report was published by a local media about bodies being pulled out of River Yala, just like I saw last week.
Dr. Fred Matiang'i, Kenya's former Interior Cabinet Secretary, has finally spoken out in an exclusive interview with Citizen TV, aired on Tuesday, July 1st, 2025. He pulls back the curtain on some of the nation's most haunting and unresolved cases, the chilling discovery of over 30 bodies in River Yala, and the brutal murder of IEBC ICT manager Chris Musando just days before the 2017 general elections. These miseries have lingered in Kenya's collective memory, with families and citizens demanding answers. Today we unpack Matiang'i's revelations and what they mean for justice in Kenya.
When in 2021, the issue of a report was published by a local media about bodies being pulled out of River Yala, just like I saw last week and the week before, for us, we asked the Inspector General of Police, Matiang'i, what was happening at that time. We agreed that the gravity of the situation is such that the DCI himself should go to that place and find out what's happening.
In early 2022, the nation was rocked by the grim discovery of over 30 bodies dumped in River Yala, Siaya County. The images of lifeless bodies floating in the river sent shockwaves across Kenya, raising questions about who was responsible and why. Matiang'i, who served as Interior CS during this period, addressed the case head-on on his Citizen TV interview. He revealed that his ministry took immediate action, escalating the matter to then Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutyambai. We asked the police IG, and it was agreed that the DCI should spend some time there. When they came back, we demanded an inquest, Matiang'i stated. However, the investigation hit a roadblock. Matiang'i explained that the Directorate of Criminal Investigations required families to positively identify the bodies to establish the circumstances of their deaths. Without this crucial step, the case stalled.
The DCI spent some time there with a team from the DCI. When they came back, we asked for an inquest. We demanded an inquest. At the National Security Council, we asked for an inquest. Can we go into this matter and find out what's happening? The DCI and the police told us, fortunately for us, their bodies. Let us get the families to claim the bodies, then we build the stories from there. We open the file, we take statements from the families so that we understand the circumstances under which these people disappeared and the circumstances under which their bodies were found in River Yala.
By the time we left office, the file was still open as investigations were ongoing. I didn't leave with the file. It was a police matter, he clarified. Matiang'i emphasized that the DCI was actively pursuing leads during his tenure, but the complexity of the case made progress slow. The lack of identification hindered efforts to uncover whether the deaths were linked to criminal activity, political motives, or something else entirely. He noted that his ministry pushed for transparency, demanding an inquest to bring clarity to the public.
By the time we were leaving government, the file was open. It was not closed at that particular time because investigations were going on. And that's why I keep saying every time, what happened with the file? I didn't live with the file. In any case, I would have nothing to do with the file as a cabinet minister. That was a police matter. And our detractors or people who like to make negative claims about this are always, they choose when it is convenient for them to say these things. The police service is independent. When they are doing certain things, it's dependent on the minister at other times. As a minister, I would have nothing with that investigation. I wouldn't even influence it for any particular purposes, as it were. The file was open. We didn't live with the file when we left government. So why don't we close the file and let us take action in the direction in which the investigations are pointing us?
The River Yala case remains a symbol of the challenges Kenyan authorities face in resolving high-profile miseries. Matiang'i's account suggests a system stretched thin, reliant on family cooperation and forensic evidence that in case we had to come by.
Besides, by the way, the best way to deal with this matter, in my view, is to have a public inquest so that all of us role players who were in the security sector at that point in time, we go face the inquest, and I'm ready to go before a magistrate or a judge, whoever it is going to preside over that inquest, and say what I know about it. But you see, the problem is throwing stones of convenience or political opportunity when the time is ripe. Say every time they say, oh, River Yala, and so on and so forth. If I was responsible for a crime that was committed by a police officer when I was Minister for Interior, then I'm responsible for all road accidents that took place, when I was Minister for Interior. I'm responsible for all the violence, robbery with violence cases. I'm responsible for all rape cases that happened, and so on and so forth. It's just not possible, as it were.
The interview then turned to another tragedy that shook Kenya, the murder of Musando, the IEBC's ICT manager, just 1 week before the 2017 general election. Msando's body was found in a forest, bearing signs of torture. His death sparked widespread speculation, with many believing it was tied to his role in overseeing the electoral system. Matiang'i was candid about the case status. The incident was reported, and I know it the way you know it. We asked several questions about the matter, he said. He confirmed that the investigation remained active during his tenure, but like the River Yala case, it was far from resolved. The DCI kept saying the file is still open. Even if you're the president, there's nothing you can do. You go by what the police IG tells you, he added.
The incident was reported, and I know it the way you know it, that an official of IEBC was killed. And the investigations were going on. We've asked questions several times about the matter. And every time the issue comes up, I keep saying, why don't we have a public inquest on this matter? I don't think that file was closed. The file is available, or it must be somewhere in the DCI. Why can't information be put? If anybody has information of any kind implicating anybody, what stops them from putting the information out? What stops them from taking the information to the law enforcement agencies?
Matiang'i also touched on other unresolved cases, including the murders of businessman Juma and Sergeant Kipyegon Kenei, a police officer linked to a controversial case. These incidents, like Musando's, remain open, with the DCI citing ongoing investigations.
The DCI kept saying, by the way, there are so many of those murders. There is Musando, there is Juma, later on the one of 2022 of Kenei, and so on. There are those murders. When DCI tells you the file is open, they are looking for information. Even if you are president yourself, there's nothing you can do. Because you see, every time you ask, it's like a bring-up system. Every time you ask the DCI, where are you with this matter? They tell you, we're investigating the matter, we are looking for some people, we have these leads, we are doing this, and so on and so forth. There's nothing you can do. You are not the investigating officer, you are the minister. So the question is, you go by what the Inspector General of Police tells you, with what the DCI tells you. And all these files, we've kept asking questions about them. Where are we with this investigation? We are looking for more information on this matter. We have these leads in this particular direction and so on. What would you do? And by the way, you can't jump the gun and go to the press and say, I'm addressing the press today, and say, in any case, what would you be telling the country anyway?
Matiang'i's frustration was palpable as he described the limitations of his role, emphasizing that the police operate independently on such matters. In a bold move, Matiang'i called for a public inquest to probe these cases, expressing his willingness to testify before any judge. These cases will be solved if the government opens a public inquest, he declared. I'm ready to testify and provide any information I have.
That's why I asked for a public inquest. That's why I'm saying, where investigations need to be hastened, let them be hastened. The challenge is this, Sam. To keep making references or to keep politicizing a matter that is as grave as citizens having died and investigations about how they died is not complete. It's very unfortunate and very frustrating. And anyone of us can use anything to say.
Dr. Fred Matiang'i's revelation have brought renewed attention to the River Yala bodies, Musando's murder, and another unresolved cases. As Kenya grapples with these miseries, his call for public inquest could be a turning point. Will the truth finally come to light? Stay tuned for more updates on this developing story.